Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for December 31st, 2025, last one of the year. We've got Renaissance and Cornucopia guilds today, and research and infirmary trashing, and Plaza, Herald, plus actions. You can also get some plus actions potentially from Patron. Not net, but you can store up some villagers rather, and then use that. Draw is Seer, Herald, Advisor, potentially Scholar, Research. Okay. Plus buy is fair. You can gain golds with Soothsayer. But yeah, not a lot of gains to be had here. Fair looks pretty important. There is also Fleet, which is kind of like gains in a way. But yeah, there's a lot of what I want to say, deck control pieces, but not a lot of payoff to building big here. I guess another question is, so Seer reveals Patron, Advisor reveals Patron, Herald reveals Patron. There's a lot of Patron synergies, although not so much in the sense of like being able to reveal it multiple times, a la something like City Quarter. Still, that could be a way to reliably start provincing relatively quickly, or maybe reliably isn't the word for it, but like to get going relatively quickly. Anyway, all right, so let's see. I guess in terms of the opening, we're definitely going to want to do either research or infirmary. We do have the Baker token, which makes opening infirmary look better than it would otherwise. We can trash 2 cards if we use the Baker token. If we're very lucky, we get to trash 2 estates. That would be fantastic. If not, worst case scenario still involves us being able to pick up a silver, which is like a fine card with Seer, although if we're playing with like Herald and Patron stuff, we don't necessarily super want silver. There's Plaza too, though, which can also generate coffers from treasures. I guess Soothsayer could potentially be feeding that. It's hard for me to think the infirmary is not correct. Yeah. I think it's gotta be. Nice. Let's go. Oh, the bot must have only had... It must have had a 3-4. Okay. Now... I'm thinking Patron... if the villagers aren't so important, but just having a few extra coins to be able to start hitting 5, probably are going to want to play with a Soothsayer. But also probably before that pick up some Seers. And we can also like potentially do Herald overpays. Yeah, let's go with that. All right. And we could just go ahead and take a Herald now. Alternatively, maybe a Plaza. I don't think we're going to need Fair for a little bit here, but it's also not crazy to pick that up now just because we have the 4 coins. And like, if we're buying Herald on more than 4, that's more beneficial than buying Fair on more than 4. know we're going to need it. It's not super impactful now, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to be really hard to time this in general. Nothing we're adding to our deck right now is going to be super impactful. Like, Plaza has some potential to help. Maybe, I mean, I could see the argument for like Plaza first and try, like we can store up coffers as a way to like smooth things out into buying a fair. I think I'm just going to take the fair now. Yeah, this is basically the hand I was expecting to see. So, top deck a Herald. I think I like that. They get the Soothsayer. We might need to do a second Infirmary overpay. Ooh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. It probably makes sense to hold off on a second Infirmary overpay until we add more payload to the deck, or like are drawing an extra card from the bot's Soothsayer. So I don't love adding Soothsayer right now without like Plaza or anything in the deck. Though with 2 Coppers on top, I kind of want to be adding Herald, not Plaza. We just go ahead and do that. Nice. Okay. Already have a Herald on top. Could just get another one. We still haven't drawn deck. And revealing Patron again would also help, of course. Yeah, honestly, I think I just want another Herald. Alright, there's the curse. And we drew the Patron. That's unfortunate. And we don't get to trash the curse. That's also unfortunate. Yeah, that was not the ideal draw. Wondering about taking a Baker now. We still haven't drawn. It could be another Herald, but that was like a maximally bad Herald sequence, so I think I'll take the Baker. And then, oh god. Wow. This is... Okay. Okay, there we go. That's better. Yeesh. Bot didn't buy... Oh, it bought fair. Okay. Alright. So now we can actually make use of our plus buy. What do we want to do with that? Could be just a, like Herald Patron again. Patron is a little bit more payload than like Baker or Plaza or whatever. I don't think I'll bother to top deck. Good. Okay. Just Herald Patron again. Why not? I don't think I want to top deck for a coffer. I want to save these up best I can. The bot is kind of stopped playing its Soothsayer. Getting close to the point where we should be considering greening. But I think I'm just going to do Herald Patron again. Oh, there it is. We're definitely not generating double province worth of money right now, so I don't think I want to totally shift into greening mode here, but we're gonna have to buy fleet at some point, but we don't need to necessarily need to do that now. We might want to hold off on additional patrons just to make sure we don't add too many stop cards. We could go, like, we could, you know, like do like Harold Baker or something. If we don't quite want to dip into the coffers yet. Yeah, I think we can afford to do that. Okay, bot provinces. So we're gonna want to match that. Oh, shoot. Gained 4 coffers this turn. We could take the last Herald for now. I think that's reasonable. Only costs us 2 coffers. Eee, what the heck? Oh, come on! What? Alright, well, this is... So we go Province Fleet. The problem is now we have multiple curses. That's was not expected. Oh, but the bot only bought 1 province here. Okay, and it hasn't bought fleet. So if we can just hit double province here, oh yeah. We hit double province and we get our fleet turn. Yeah, that's the goal. I think that's more heralds down there. It's not copper. It's not province. It's, I guess there's a baker down there. Yeah, I was thinking I was in trouble. Bottom deck the infirmary. That's unfortunate. Anyway, I was thinking I was in trouble here, but I'd forgotten. Yeah, like the bot hadn't actually bought fleet yet, so if it had double provinced, I still would have had the ability to take the fleet turn to clean up. I'm just trying to think here. We've had 30 points, and I would have 17. But I would have... actually, maybe that would have been a problem. No, I wouldn't have had 17. I would have had 20, because I would have gotten another duchy. So I would have been in trouble insofar as I did, in fact, bottom deck the infirmary. Not having the infirmary would mean that I didn't get to trash the curse. So, like here, we'd still be buying double duchy, and be getting to 29 minus 3 is 26 points. Oh no, and the bot would be at 30. Yeah, yeah, maybe that was a bigger problem than I thought. But I guess, I mean, the bot's deck wasn't super reliable, so maybe it wasn't surprising that it had that bad draw there at the end. 3 seers, 2 heralds. Like, I guess the goal for the bot was to do a big research turn, and it did set that up going into this last turn that it never took. But it didn't actually have that much payload. How did it even double province off of this? I'm looking at this. This is not, there's not enough money in this deck to double province. I guess it could have had coffers. Oh, I did not realize that it scrolled all the way up. Let's see here. Well, I guess if it hadn't researched this gold, then with 4 golds, did it play? Didn't play its Soothsayer that turn. Anyway, with 4 golds and a patron, technically that's enough. Here it played 5 golds and a patron. Wait, what happened to the... Oh, no. Wait, did it have 4 gold at the end? It had 4 gold at the end. Okay, right. So it had 14. Before that, it had 17. Yeah. And... So yeah, it was very much dependent on seeing its entire deck with a deck that wasn't very good at doing that. Because, like, Seer could draw the Heralds, the Research, the Patron, and the Infirmary, but can't draw the Provinces or the Golds or the Soothsayer. Herald has a lot of failure cases. So it's kind of surprising that it was even able to double province in the first place. What did that turn look like? Did it research into that turn? There it is. No, it didn't. Huh. I was kind of expecting it to, but I guess it turns out that the bot didn't have so much payload anyway. That like I was getting a little bit worried about the scenario where it's like, oh, it's gained a bunch of gold with Soothsayer, and then it researches something and has like a huge turn. Although obviously there's limited upside to that because of only having the 1+ buy. But what I didn't realize is that because the bot didn't, only had the one patron and nothing else, it just didn't have actually that much payload anyway. But Seer draws a Herald. Herald reveals a Seer, which draws a Herald. Did it have any green cards to start with? No. Herald reveals a Seer, which draws an Infirmary. Infirmary draws a gold. I think this was actually a crazy good turn because yeah, look at this now. Then they immediately see 3 provinces on top as they did shuffle. But I think so. At least one of these could be from there. But I think 2 of them had to have been 1 or 2 of them. Because the bot had 4 provinces, so I think it took 1, 2. Oh, I guess it only had 1 province in the deck going into this turn. I guess. Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's not so crazy. It saw both of its heralds. It didn't see its research. But yeah, in any case, I think, yeah, it could just be that the deck was just barely capable of functioning before it added 2 more provinces, and then once it added 2 provinces, the odds were it was going to not be able to function without being set up with research. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a deck to be built here that involves possibly multiple Soothsayers and multiple researches, and you have, I don't know. The problem is then you don't have enough cards to set aside each time. Overall, I prefer the style of deck that I built, but I'm not totally sure that the Soothsayer stuff, that there isn't some way for that to. I mean, it definitely Soothsayer definitely ramps payload faster than what I was doing because you're not having to buy the payload. The problem is that it's hard to get the deck control to work with that payload because Seer doesn't like the golds, Herald doesn't like the golds, Advisor is weak deck control. What are the other options? Scholar? I don't know. Yeah, research works well with it, but then you run into the problem that I was saying. It's you have one big research turn. It's hard to follow that up because, oh, you drew your deck. Well, now what are you researching? Or what are you setting aside with research? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that isn't actually, or maybe for this deck you have to be very precise with the timing of things in order to make that beat out a deck like mine that just sort of keeps going. Although I did manage to have a dud anyway, and maybe my deck should have had 1 more Baker and 1 less Patron or something. Obviously, it would have been good to finish cleaning up this stuff, and I did talk about getting a second Infirmary overpay. It never really seemed necessary until then near the end of the game. It was well, maybe that would have been good. But yeah. Well, in any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next year.